my dream would be that our default way of gathering would be sitting in a circle together, where the faculty member was a member of the learning community alongside the students. Even if we weren't physically that way, that would be the mindset. And that we were learning each other's stories before we just jumped into the content of the topic. The opening of the House of Healing just happened yesterday, and there was an elder from New Zealand who spoke. And one of the things he said that really resonated with me was that the way we've divided up learning into these different disciplines is not reflective of real life. And that Indigenous cultures know this. We all know it in our hearts, that these disciplines are false divides that make it difficult to recognize the whole person. And so I think that's part of my dream, is that even though we have ourselves divided into these different disciplines, that each discipline recognizes its responsibility to point at the universal, to point at the universal human experience, so that a chemist is thinking about the whole earth, the past, present, and future, the ecology, the sociology, the politics, all of that wrapped together, so that a historian is thinking about all those elements as well, thinking about the chemistry, thinking about the physics, thinking about the materials that are being used, how humans are engaging with their physical environment over time, so that educators are not just saying, my job is to do something in this classroom, but they're saying, my job is to help them navigate this broad and complex world. So if we can remember that we're connected to the whole when we're doing our specific jobs in our specific disciplines, the jobs will be more meaningful to us as staff and faculty. And because they're more meaningful to us as staff and faculty, they will be so much richer and more inclusive and more practically useful to the students that come in. So if we know who we are and where we come from and what we're trying to do and see ourselves as interconnected, we can help the students do that as well. So that's a huge part of my passion, to help people find their way there as members of the Western community, and to try to do that myself. And that's what Laurel and Ellie are trying to do also for the students that work in our office and for all the different partners that we work with around campus and in the broader community and around the world, just to be those curious, engaged, and mindful people. So the Students in Community program that Laurel Hammond has really created and oversees, what we're trying to do is help students from the beginning of their journey at Western have paid opportunities to work out in the community, addressing issues that are of interest to them and also that relate to their academic work and their academic journey, and that help them build relationships with the broader community. So we have students out working with community organizations and meeting together to talk about how that work intersects with their lives at Western, and participating in and helping to host our community engagement fellows spaces. And so systems like that, where we're not just sending students out to do some volunteer work that doesn't mean anything to them. We're saying, who are you? What do you care about? How can we craft a position for you that meets Western's needs and strategic goals, that meet the community needs, and that meet your interests as a learner? I mentioned before the idea of creating spaces for rich learning, and I think City Sprouts Farm, that's in the Birchwood neighborhood that we run, is a profound example of that in so many ways. But one of them is that we had this tiny farm project that was made. There was a student idea and student run project that for a few years students designed and managed their own piece of City Sprouts Farm and put those vegetables into boxes and distributed them for free to other students So they got to really practice the whole growing process of running an urban farm. And those students are going off, many of them have gone off to do that work after they've graduated. If they're working for local farms here and leading other local sustainable agriculture efforts. And I just love that we have that space for students to experiment and grow things and practice and make mistakes and decide with each other as a team what should come next and navigate rainstorms and navigate funding uncertainties and neighbors and all of that stuff, because that's real life. That's learning in the real world. So it's so special and meaningful to be able to steward that space as well as part of the Center for Community Learning's work.